the stakes are high. This is literally life and death for both us as educators, for our students, and then for all of the families in this community that we return home to.
Well, we came here because this is DCPS. This is headquarters.
We're not invited to the table to make the decisions that are going to impact us way more than the people who sit in this building, but they're actually not even sitting in this building because they're going to work from home.
Nobody wants more than any of us to be back in brick and mortar and teaching the kids because that's how they learn best. But at what cost?
We have families, we have multi-generational homes in some cases. Like, everyone in the community is at risk when schools open.
We asked, what's the situation with nurses? Because there have been schools with no nurses, and we asked, and they said it's going to be normal staffing. Is it acceptable to have no nurse in a school during a pandemic? No.
There's so many schools that, without COVID, did not have soap and toilet paper. How do you promise us you're going to have the correct amount of PPE for us, and you don't even have soap for the kids to wash their hands? Don't plan for us, plan with us so that we know how to come back to school in a safe, appropriate manner.
And so we wanted to send a strong message, a striking message to the mayor. This is too important, lives are at stake, and we're not going to back down.
So we talk about going hybrid. That means 2 days out of the week, or 3 days, or 4 days. Let me just tell you my reality. I am at home. I care for my 75-year-old mother who has underlying health conditions. It is unrealistic. I think it's unhealthy and unwise.
In 2011, while grading papers during a planning period, I had a heart attack in my classroom. My students saw me wheeled out of my room on a stretcher in the middle of a transition. The risk of death from COVID is greater for people with hearts like mine. I'm more likely that my students would again see me rolled out of my room on a stretcher, although this time I might not come back.
There's no way that they have not done some sort of projection of how many people will get sick and how many people will die if we reopen the building. I'm dying to know what that number is, because it can't be zero.
I don't want to teach on the screen. With pre-K children, I mean, they're in a window like they're in a camera like this. They're not focused. It is a horrible situation. But I'd rather have them in that situation than them to be dead. If there's one child, one teacher, one custodian, one administrator that loses their life, that is one too many.
And the decision keeps getting delayed. All we can hope for is that we will have direction, and that direction will be the right choice, which is 100% virtual until it's safe.
Today's action is highlighting some of the current safety concerns that existed in our buildings before the pandemic. In addition to the extra precautions we would need to be safe in a pandemic, we have all these other baseline concerns that have not been addressed for years. And I think, unfortunately, or fortunately, the pandemic has brought to light a lot of these inequities, and our kids deserve a lot better than they've been getting.
Specifically for Ward 8 schools, because they don't have HVAC systems, and we have poor ventilation. We already lack soap, hand sanitizer, paper towel on a steady basis. So all those deficits are going to be exacerbated because of COVID-19.
So here alone, their ventilation system is very poor. Classrooms don't have functional AC or heating. The water fountains don't work. Their bathrooms, staff and students, are without soap and paper towels. And there are no touch-free soap or paper towel dispensers at this particular school.
I believe we are going to the Chancellor's house. I just hope he hears us and hears our concerns and hears our care is genuine, and that he makes a choice that supports this community. He speaks a lot about wanting trust with the teachers, and the only way to build that is through genuine collaboration.
Chancellor Farabee, there should be no reason why teachers have to come to your doorstep. You should be coming to us. Why aren't we at the table?
You go to ill-prepared buildings first and try it out. You go into a building with no PPE.
You are not the one that is going to teach in a middle school with windows that do not open.
I feel like I'm trying to convince you that our lives are worth living.
Only when it is safe will you go into work. Only when it's safe, we will then go to work. Come down and speak to us. Thank you.
These are basic questions, not technical ones. How will we ensure that we have the necessary PPE? Who's going to pay for it? How will we ensure social distancing occurs outside the classroom? Are teachers expected to balance the requirements of teaching both in person and online simultaneously? What if we have pre-existing conditions and health risks? What if we are taking care of those who are most at risk for COVID? We have no answers to the most basic, straightforward questions, despite having asked them in every forum we could think of.
Only when it's safe. Only when it's safe. Hey, only when it's safe.
The WTU speaks on behalf of teachers, and you're telling the WTU what you're going to do instead of actually having a conversation, because that shows people respect. We're going to have to take up the mantle ourselves.
This is the most galvanized I've felt or seen the union maybe ever. Feels good.
We just got permission yesterday from our larger umbrella union, American Federation of Teachers, to strike. The president of our local union says we'll pay the fine. It's not a big deal. We've done it before. And what's our number one rule for staying safe during opening group? All together now.
We keep our hands and feet inside our own square at all times.
I'm here to demonstrate a little bit of what it might look like to have a social distancing classroom under the protocols that DCPS teachers were sent by Chancellor Farabee and the mayor so far.
The itsy bitsy spider, Jackie, legs back in your square. Went up the spout again. Wasn't that fun?
So the mayor had said she's going to announce on Friday whether or not you're going to be doing hybrid or distance learning. Instead, she decided to do a press conference this morning.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Muriel Bowser. I'm the mayor of Washington, D.C.
She had her people announce that the first term would be distance only.
We are moving forward with an all-virtual start to the school year until November 6th.
Which is what we wanted, and we're glad that we won that. What we're not glad about is that, one, we were not notified. We're still not being communicated with.
How much did the teachers' union clear desire not to go back to school right away play into this decision?
We have won the first term of distance only, but it's only the beginning. They still haven't given tech to our students one-to-one. We're going to keep fighting for that. And then, of course, we're going to fight about the conditions it will take and what it will take to return in November, should that even be a possibility.